So, welcome to Fem Stories. My name is Anjali, and today I have a women entrepreneur founder that I'm personally very excited about. I've been chasing her for months, literally for months, because she doesn't live locally in Gurgaon, and we are shooting this in Gurgaon, and she lives in Gwalior. But she's been really sweet to respond back to me, and then today she's here in the studio, and she is somebody who has a couple of feathers under her hat. She's Forbes 30 under 30 Asia, and she's also been a Shark Tank India funded, or at least she's been to Tank India. She's building an Ayurvedic lifestyle brand. It's offering a range of health and personal care products. The brand name is Amrutam. So please welcome our very own Stuti Ashok Gupta. Welcome, Stuti.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having me.
Thank you for coming. It's been so, I'm personally excited to have you because I've been following you on LinkedIn. I loved your profile, but besides all of that good stuff, I think it what resonated most between you and me was your hard work, and you building your the whole journey that you have shown, and I was following you throughout to see that you have built a brand and you are consistent in your hard work. You're still working really hard to get the voice out there, get your self out there, show up out there, and then people recognize you, people look for you, people chase you like I did. So I know this is amazing and introduction. You've, along with your building the global online community through Amritam, you're also doing a mental health professional help, sort of a part-time stuff, and then you're also you
I
co-founded
did, yeah.
the Lost Tribe Hostels in 2016, and then also published a book, Sublimation, a collection of poems, in 2015, and then working full time at Amritam since 17, and then also incubated at NSR cell in Bangalore. Whoa. See, I'm telling you, the reason there was a reason I was following and pushing her to come online, because there is so much we can learn from her story and we can learn from her journey. So I'll take a pause talking here. I'll let you talk because this is why we had you here. Let us know, please, what is your journey? How did you think that this is what you want to build? Why did you name it as Amritam? And Ayurvedic stuff is so important in today's age. Sustainability, organic, something that is not artificial or something that is not organic is so important in today's DNA. So walk us through.
Sure. My story is pretty long,
Take it away.
but I'll try to keep it crisp so
Yes.
that we don't lose focus.
Yes.
But so I did my schooling till like I was 17 in Gwalior, and then I moved to Bangalore for my graduation. I studied at Christ University. Then basically I did a psychology honors.
Okay.
I was a topper kid in school, like I got 100 on 100 in maths, and then everyone is expecting ki, I'll do engineering, which I didn't. So a lot of my teachers were disappointed.
You did not.
I did not.
Good answer, which I obviously did not do it. I don't want your expectations to go with me. I will do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Let me
So
just
I honestly, it like my relationship with psychology also started like because of the fact that I was not that kid who would go into sports a lot. I was that kid who would skip games period for like a dance rehearsal in school,
Yeah.
and I never really enjoyed sports. Like maybe now I still do, but as a
Kid.
like kid, I never
Okay.
did.
You were
So
more into dancing,
yeah,
more into
like
expressing your
yeah,
emotions.
yeah.
Not
Like as
that
a kid, I have been trained as a like Hindustani classical Kathak dancer.
nice.
Hindustani classical music. I've
Yeah.
learned singing.
Yeah.
So
But the
I was
sports is more strategy.
yeah more physical
More
and
physical.
yeah. Like I mean dances too, but there was just
Dance is more expression.
yeah
More
yeah
nice. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So literally, I did not want to have physical education as my optional subject in 11th standard. And I went to my principal and said, listen, I don't want to do this. I want another optional subject. And she said, if you, convince 5 other students for any other subject, I will bring a teacher. So I saw the list and I thought psychology, okay, I'll be able to read people's mind. That's how naive I was. And then I convinced the students, like my friends, and like I was like, listen, we'll all study psychology. And then I did my 11th, 12th with science, like physics, chemistry, math, and psychology. And I found that very interesting. And I thought, okay, maybe I want to actually study this for my graduation. So I did that. And then I went for my postgrad, master's in clinical psychology. And during this whole time of college, I was also a volunteer at an NGO. We were working for the quality of education in government schools. So then I thought maybe I'll make a career like in the social sector. And I was like deep in it, ki, okay, I will do this.
So were you enjoying when you actually went onto that psychology journey?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Did you like the classes? Then you
Yeah.
went on to major. Okay.
Yeah.
You liked it.
Yeah. I was really in it.
Okay.
And I mean, when I got through TIS, I did not get through TIS Bombay because of the reservation. You only have like 20 seats across the
That's
country.
the problem here. Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, only 8 are like general, and the rest is reservation.
Yeah,
So
that's the story of a country.
yeah. So then I had not even applied to TIS Calicut, and I got to know that they basically moved my application there, and then I got selected there. So I moved to Kerala. I lived in Kerala for 2 years, and I started traveling a lot because there was nothing to do in Calicut. It was really small.
Yeah.
And like it was like a dream life in a way that, okay, we had a house which had a sea view and this and that, but nothing much to do.
Nothing more than that.
Yeah, nothing more than that. And my college was literally just like 2 big Kerala houses put together and only 40 students. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, because it was like in partnership with Mental Health Action Trust, which was like a community mental health NGO. So we were working as junior psychologists while studying. So I saw like a lot of like things that probably I wouldn't have experienced if I had not lived in Calicut. Started feeling that, okay, I come from a lot of privilege, which you don't realize when you've always been, surrounded by people who are probably equal, more or less privileged. But suddenly when you see that comparison and you start recognizing and start feeling more grateful, I guess,
Yes.
that, people actually are suffering, or maybe if not suffering, at least they do not have the kind of privileges that maybe you have purely because you were born, in a certain society or family or whatever. So, and because I was traveling a lot, I started writing poems and posting like one poem every day on Facebook. Then people said, publish it. I published it, and for like a short period, it became like top seller. But anyway,
That's great.
and
Awesome.
and then
Please tell us one poem.
honestly, I've not written a poem in like last 5 years.
Really? But
Yeah.
you remember anything?
No. I published a book like when I was 21. I'm going to turn 31 this year. So
Okay.
it's that.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, then I traveled so much that I met a bunch of people in Goa and this was like my book reading in Goa, also my birthday. So I met a couple of people, I became friends with them, and my plan was to go to Scotland for doing even more specialization in childhood studies because I thought I'll build my career in that NGO. I had absolutely no idea that I'll get into this capitalistic world. But
Yes.
over the years, like 6 years of working in the social sector, I realized that the impact is actually not the focus. It's largely like you're trying to raise funds, showcasing the numbers. It's so far away from the ground realities.
No, but this whole experience that you just mentioned is very different of what you're built.
Yes,
How did the transition happen?
right. So
Why did you make Amritam? When did it happen?
So I mean, Amritam was actually started by my parents as a manufacturing company. We used to make ayurvedic medicines, which were prescribed by doctors
Got it.
in like a B2B supply chain. So the year in 2016, the year that I was supposed to go to Scotland, is the year that my father was basically a distributor to a lot of pharmaceutical companies. And then he realized that the quality of product was not of the same level as what would actually help people. So he wanted to he created range of malts, which are our top seller now. It's basically like a Chyawanprash, but for different health concerns.
Okay.
So Chyawanprash just got famous. It's just one of the 1,000 kinds of malts or avle in Ayurveda.
Yeah.
So he created like a range, and then he started his own company while he was a distributor to like major pharmaceutical companies. But then that contract broke, which was his main source of income. So that's when I was at a crossroad where I had to go to Scotland, but I couldn't because
Yeah.
my parents said that right now they are not in the position to.
To finance it.
Yeah. And I had actually a scholarship as well, but it was more of an emotional thing that you should be there for the family.
Yeah.
But I was a rebel, so I went to Manali and I was like, I'm going to live here and I'm going to start my therapeutic community, which is a concept in psychology where people live together and it's like a way of healing.
Yeah.
That happened, and then it took me a year to understand that the problem at home was actually a little more serious.
Serious than actually you thought.
Yeah, that's when Agnim, my brother, and I, we both left our own startups and then went back
Came
to
back
Gwalior and then built Amritam from scratch, like a new logo, new label, new
How
packaging.
nice.
Yeah.
The two siblings understood the real reason, the real concern, and got back together into building a Amritam. So that's
Yes.
how it got built.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Finally, we have a story.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I mean, I can say it in a sentence as well, but it just sometimes
No, I see that makes
misses
sense.
the essence.
So when was it founded?
2006.
Oh, so it's been a while.
Yes, yeah. So 2006
16,
to 2017, like almost 11 years.
Okay.
It was like how Fem Stories is to you.
Yes.
Where you have your own thing going on which gives you your money and
Yes.
pays your bills.
Yes.
And then you have your Fem Stories, which
Yes.
is going
Passion
on and
project.
you're funding it and
Yes.
you're not thinking about it, right?
Yes.
So that was how
I'm
Amritam
giving money.
was. That's how Amritam was for my father. Like
Yes.
he built a factory. He did everything. He kept funding it. It was like his baby. Where he was like, okay, I want to build this eventually. But that was not what he was depending on
Yeah.
for paying the bills.
Yes. Yes.
So to say, yeah.
Yeah. So then you kind of took it forward.
Yeah. So then basically we realized that the products were great, but there was no brand, there was no connection between the customer. It was like filled with middlemen who only cared about margins, who, it was a very credit oriented sort of a business where you would just keep sending products expecting people to pay back. Once the products are sold, sometimes people just disappeared. There were a lot of defaults. So that led Amritam into major losses. And we realized that it wasn't the product that was the problem. It was the way of doing business. So back in 2017, when there was no term D2C coined as well, Agnim and I, we decided that, okay, we are going to sell our products on our website. I was mostly like his vision and I was more like I enjoyed all the creative side. But in terms of the tech, he's always been very futuristic. Even today, what we're building now, like apart from the products, we've launched an app where people can take a consultation from an ayurvedic expert. He's building again for the future. So we kind of divide our responsibilities.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Tell me about the Shark Tank. What happened there?
Sure. So for us, Shark Tank was like, okay, everyone's going, let's just apply after season 1. We filled the application and
So it was season 1?
we went in season 2.
2, okay.
Yeah. Season 1, we were not we were
Ready.
Yeah, no, I mean, we not really thought we'll go for Shark
Yeah.
Tank. It was more like that. Season 2, we thought, okay, let's just apply, let's see. There were like almost, I think, 70,000 applications and only 150 startups get selected.
Oh my God.
Like who actually get aired.
Crazy number.
Yeah. So the ratio is really small. So obviously when we were applying, we were like, matlab, we don't know if it will happen
Story
or
of
not.
a country. More people, lesser opportunities.
Correct,
That's
correct.
the typical
Yeah,
story
yeah.
everywhere you go, and it's so frustrating.
It
right?
is,
More
it is.
people. Yeah.
I mean, those are also the people who make it a market, who buy your products, and then on the
Then
other,
you increase. Then you like it.
then you like
Then
it.
you like that number because
But
you
when
want
you're on the
volume.
road and stuck in the
Then
traffic,
the D2C brand works because you want to encash on the volume of the country.
yeah,
But when you actually need the opportunity, like on platforms like Shark Tank, you don't want the competition of 70,000 people. And now
Yeah.
season 3 has been crazy as well. Now
Yeah.
they're already working on season 4.
yes.
Yeah.
So for us, it was like that we applied, we got an email that, in fact, like I also filled the application, Agnim filled it separately, and Yash, part of our core team, also filled it, but only Agnim got a response back. So it was like, I mean, also a matter of, okay, who gets selected. Like,
Yeah.
but then when we heard back, there was like a whole process of video application, in-person audition, then like a phone call interview, then going to, then the final shoot that happened. That was also like week long in Bombay. A lot of preparation, lot of teams working with you from finance, numbers to, your pitch, your clothes, your, different aspects. So, my experience was that it was very well organized. I've heard otherwise, but I personally was pretty impressed with the way they were managing the startup. I mean, the only part that I didn't like is that we were always like, imagine like always being in this dark space like all throughout for almost a week, where you didn't know what time of the day it was, and it was like large spaces, everything black, ceiling black, those typical studio. Yeah,
The war
we were
rooms.
shooting at YRF, so.
So it's like a war room thing.
Yeah. But it was also fun in a way. Like,
Yeah,
we
for
met so many founders.
Yes.
It was pretty nice. Like,
Yes.
there were goods and the bad.
Yes.
When we went in, so the feedback that we got was that when we joined, like when Agnim and I joined, we basically registered a new company to run the D2C brand, and our parents continued running their manufacturing company, and we were basically buying products from them. So they did not appreciate that structure. They said that those two companies needed to be merged, otherwise it becomes uninvestable. Although I have personally seen on Shark Tank that a lot of companies have been invested given the same structure, but it's a matter of like chance.
Luck also,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But anyway, our motivation wasn't really to raise funds because we are a family business.
Yeah.
It was largely to get that
Marketing.
visibility, and I mean, it's almost a 5 crore worth media asset,
Yeah.
right? That you get, and it's still paying off.
Yeah.
Like, people still recognize Amritam, and there is an instant credibility that
Yeah.
people feel that they can trust the brand because it's been on the TV.
Yeah.
They're not going to fool us. Like,
Yeah.
90% of our revenue comes on our website even today, is because regardless of so many scams going on, people have somewhere seen us or heard about us, watched us on TV or whatever. So that will always stay with us.
Yeah. No, it provides incredible platform from marketing standpoint. People just know you instantly
Right.
because they take these sharks seriously. They take the whole business model seriously. And if you're there, if you're part of it as a representative or as a presenter, it actually is a big deal. So let's shift gears a little bit. Like, anecdotally, like, in terms of synonymal, sorry, cut this please. So just want to make sure that your perspective, I just want to see how your perspective is from the winner's standpoint, right? As they say that winners, they do quit. So if there's an example, there's a story behind it. So Simone Biles, right? She's a celebrated US gymnast for so many years. In 2016, she went to the Olympics and she won gold and a couple of other events. Simone, it was all her. Let's roll the clock to 2021. She comes back, and then when she's taking that 2.5 long flip, and then when she's trying to find the ground, she wasn't able to connect. She was trying to get down to the ground from the sky. So it happens to the best of us. This is probably a specific thing that's called, I don't know the term, but it means when the mind and the body is not connected.
Yeah.
And then what she did after that was she said, okay, I'm going to just quit. I'm just going to take my application or take my participation from all the events. It happened during the event. But when she realized that she was struggling, a lot of things happening with her mind and body, she immediately, decided that she'll probably not go ahead in the competition, which tells us as a very good example or a story that, if you are a winner, you have there's one way to quit because you don't have courage or whatever. Another way to quit is because you're afraid. You know the reasons. There's a good decision, and that's when it's the right decision to make. So why I put the story together is to understand the winning mindset. in terms of how you think the entrepreneurship, especially in the women, for the women perspective, from the women perspective, how do you think winning is important, especially in the society norms that we live in India? What is your take on it?
So there are basically two parts to what you said, right?
Yeah.
One is about quitting, and the other one is about winning, especially for women, like in
Yeah.
that context.
Yeah.
So I personally feel that if you know when to quit, then that's the best thing. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
I
really
left
the right decision.
I have left so many things in my life, and I think if I had not left that, then I wouldn't be here giving this podcast interview, because
I'm not big yet.
I mean,
Yes.
it's not about big or
Yeah.
small, right? Like you thought that I was worthy of
Yeah.
spending this hour with me, right? It matters.
Yeah.
A lot of people sort of aspire
Yeah.
that they give a
And this could be an
podcast,
inspiration to you don't know whom.
right?
And that is my mission, to get to that voice, to get to those people. I mean, eventually it will. Right now, I might have 50 subscribers. Tomorrow might be 50 lakhs. Who knows?
Exactly. It starts from 50.
Starts from 50.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
is where my hope is. And so back to the winning mindset.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's about like, what are you getting out of it? One is, of course, on a very fundamental level, I feel fulfillment is very important. And we never talk about that enough, because we always judge like losing or winning from a very male lens. Because for the longest time, generationally, a business or a venture or anything that was outside the home was run by men. So a lot of our parameters are still very male centric.
Still?
Yes, of course. Of course. But there are a lot of soft things that women are bringing now, that, they are more actively being entrepreneurs or working, or, even making decisions at home themselves, not depending on, anyone, like be it their mother or father or partner or kids. So I feel that a lot of, like, our social fabric is changing, and quitting then becomes that soft skill, where if fulfillment is not coming in, then you have a whole life in front of you, and you will still take away whatever you've learned from what you were doing. But if you quit, you are not starting from scratch. Like I always say this, that you are a seed. No matter where you are
Planted.
planted, you are going to bloom. If you are a rose, you're going to bring in the flower, rose. But it's then about who you are, what is your DNA, what are you as a seed, and no matter where you will go, you will bring that. And so if you quit, it doesn't mean that you have to really start from zero. Like if you spend 16 years in a developed country, you come back to India, you're not starting from scratch. You have already collected so many years of experience of living a high quality of life, right? So you will always bring that out in different aspects of what you do here. So that I feel that then quitting is just changing your path a little, redefining. And I feel that it's always better to do that at the right time than be like this sulking energy, and everyone also feels that way around you.
Yeah. So I think that's a winning mindset.
Yeah.
Because you want an exit, like similar to Shark Tank, right? You want an exit out of a situation with your winning strategy. And that's what Simone Biles did as well. She figured that her mind and body is not connecting really well. Instead of doing, the flips that might not land, or, might not be using that time that she's being so known for, she quit it.
Yeah, because then she would have done it for her ego, and that probably would have felt great on TV, and people would have remembered her for her new moments. But if she would have lost her life, then is it worth it?
And also she would have lost that record, what she's building for, right? She's a gold gymnast. She's winning gold she's a celebrated gymnast for the country like US for years. So if she really goes there, it might not be a winning mindset for her. So I think something to learn from her.
She did not give in to the validation, is how I look at it. And about winning for, like, maybe in the women context, I feel that we need more and more examples of women who are doing successfully, like, well, whatever they're doing. it doesn't have to be an X or a Y, but
Yes.
whatever they're doing, they're killing it,
Yeah.
because that's what's going to make good examples,
Yeah.
good
You
role
need the
models.
role models, you need the inspiration to take that first step. And that brings me to the next sort of thought process, or a layered of thought in terms of how do you define planting a right seed into our kids. Like, given this entrepreneurial, this is the time which Silicon Valley in California was going back in 2003. Lots of companies booming, the economy was booming, startup is giving 15 to 20% GDP to the country. Government is creating the schemes. I am Bangalore, good institutes are creating the schemes. This is all part of encouraging the community to go in a different in that direction. So how do we take this goodness and inculcate into our kids? Because now in India, cut to 10 years ago, engineers, doctors, and all of them has gone to the US, UK, Australia. They're all CEOs there. It's a running joke in US. If you're not a CEO and if you're not an Indian, you're not a CEO. So now we have a new age, millennials, and what is your take? How much do you think you would talk about being an entrepreneur early on, for your kids or for the girl if you have one, than as opposed to getting an engineering degree or an MBBS degree? Things are changing. There is a shift here.
Sure. So, I mean, this answer comes from bottom of my heart because I have seen the education system at its worst in this country, right?
Yeah.
Most of the students go in government schools, and government school education is terrible. A kid in 6th standard probably don't know how to read. It's that bad. So, it starts with education. Our education system was designed by Britishers so that they could manufacture people who could work under them.
Slaves.
Yeah, work for
Slavery.
them, right? Not necessarily slaves. Like, they wanted like people who would do clerical work or
Work for them.
Yeah, work for them. And the whole education system for the longest time has followed the same principle that we are manufacturing employees.
Sort of laborer
Yeah,
mindset.
yeah, that you work for someone else's vision. So, I mean, on a very core level, it has
Good
to.
point, actually.
Yeah, on a core level, I think it has to be what kind of education your kid is getting, right? Second is the exposure in terms of the good role models, because there's no better way that a person learns, be it an adult or a kid. You cannot tell them ki behave like this or do like this. They're copying you.
You have to be
you
like
know.
that.
Yeah, you have to be like that, and by default, they are an outcome of how you behave, how you speak, how you. Yeah.
Take that sneeze if you want to. We'll edit that.
I have some cough.
Okay.
Okay. So largely, I mean, one is education. That if instead of making education all about marks and grades, if we make education actually about learning, then if a kid is interested in something, they will learn regardless of whether they have an exam to give or not, which is an entrepreneur mindset. Nobody's asked you to do fem stories. You're doing it. Why are you doing it? Because you want to do it, right? Like, it's coming from you. So that sort of gets built in very early. And the second is the right examples around you, because when you get the good examples, you know that why do people want to become engineers is because they've seen engineers being successful. They're able to pay their bills well. They are able to create a life that they want to sort of have. But when we have, like, now I think there's a whole wave of entrepreneurs being looked and celebrated very well in our country
they
now.
are making good money. Better than the engineers and the doctors.
So
in the
then that
country.
is now, if one is that you see someone on the TV who's making who's doing very well, but then if there is an example very close
in the society as well.
That
it's a huge inspiration.
Yeah, that impact is, I mean, multifold.
Yes.
So those two, I think, can be very easy or hard ways to inculcate entrepreneurship in younger minds.
Absolutely. So I always ask this question from all the women guys that join me on here. What programs or what sort of leadership awareness, what tools, resources that you probably must have taken to in your journey to educate yourself to get to the point that you are here right now? Because I think it just helps everybody to learn.
So, one is, of course, a lot of TED Talks.
TED Talks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the ones that, not the TEDx, mostly the
TEDx,
TED
yes,
Talks,
yes.
because they go through that certain level of filtration. Uh, I mean, I think nowadays I don't listen to TED Talk so much because now there are podcasts and a lot of new stuff that has come in.
Yes.
But earlier, that access to how people are doing things, how people have gone into depth of that one particular topic, really interested me. And I remember when I moved to Gwalior, and initially both my brother and I didn't know what to do. So my mother would tell us that you just show up at the office at 9 a.m. and you sit there till evening, and you figure out that you do something productive, learn something productive. Just right now, you're just building a habit of sitting, right? And I cannot tell you how much that has actually built me and my character and like my whole journey, because usually we think that, okay, when I have work, I'll do work. But when you really define your time, and now it's not like कि 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. 5 p.m. है, ऐसा नहीं है. But like during that time, that discipline was very much required, that I am devoting 8, 9, 10 hours just sitting in one place and trying not to do anything which is not going to help me. So it's not like I'm sitting there watching a TV show or like a stand-up comedy. So then I had to do something. So I read a lot of blogs. I still do. And I watched a lot of TED Talks, because in just those 15, 18 minutes, they tell you something that can, if it impacts you, it sticks around for a really long time. Now I watch a lot, like recently I've been watching like Nikhil Kamath, WTF a lot.
I do watch his talks.
I just find the pace a little slow, so I watch it like for maybe 10 minutes.
They're pretty long though.
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of go a little, it just attention span, right?
So I never watch it in one go ever.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
It's like 2 hours,
Yeah.
2.5 hours. There was one like 2.5 hours. So I kind of watched like 20 minutes, then again 20 minutes later. But I come back.
Yeah.
I come back and watch it. I like that. Yeah.
And the other is like, there are, like, depending on your topics, right? Like, say when I was more in psychology, then I read, articles on American Association of Psychology. Like there are, whatever topic, whatever you're doing, there are institutions which do a lot of research, lot of evidence, lot of studies, and then bring in content. So, I mean, instead of maybe trusting an IG reel, I rather read like maybe a 15-minute article about something that makes me feel like, okay, I've understood something end to end, rather than having that.
So basically, you were educating yourself.
I still do.
During that time. And we're all learning all the time. We're all educating ourselves. That's great. So basically, TED Talks is something that you really, really think was part of your learning, your personal leadership coaching that happened via TED Talks. What else?
So, back in 2021, I think I joined a program called Expert course. It's by Sharad, and that actually gave me access to the network for the first time, because when we were in Gwalior, like we built Amritam for the first 5 years in Gwalior. Then Agnim and I, we decided to move to Bangalore when we got incubated at IIM. But before that, all these investors would keep finding us and then message us that we've been trying to get in touch with you. You live under the rock. And we were because we were just focused on building our stuff, like didn't really care about who's doing what, and like very much just focused.
I feel partly you had that backing. It wasn't a clean slate for you. It was, you had everything. You just had to bring the baton forward.
Yeah.
So you were educating yourselves. You were kind of working it out, taking the kinks out. Okay, the supply chain might not be best. The margins are higher or lower. Basically, you are rehauling the entire business for your parents.
Right.
But you had the business built in.
Right. So we had the product. We had the product.
You had the products with you already.
But nothing else. Everything else was built on scratch.
You built the brand out of it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, from marketing, to shipping logistics, to how we are going to sell, to the communication. Like I said, this was prescribed by doctors, so it was under medicine, to bring into a over-the-counter product where a person can buy themselves.
Yes.
So all that required like working from scratch. The lucky part was that we had the formulations. We did not have to work on which ingredient would do what and where to source it from and how to make the product. So the product formulation and the production
there.
was figured out for us. Obviously, over the years, we've done a lot of like research in terms of what machine to bring in, automated a lot of stuff in our factory now. Earlier, it was very much human focused and human, labor intensive.
So Amritam has been profitable since very beginning.
So for a while we were not, because
Okay.
we were trying to scale.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, we are profitable.
You're profitable?
Yeah.
Great, awesome. And then what will be your leadership advice to the aspiring women entrepreneurs?
Okay.
Think about it. Like based on your journey, based on what you have learned.
So, like earlier, what I was saying, right, that we judge ourselves from a very male centric lens and forget what we bring in on the table. So, as women leaders, we bring in maybe more higher emotional intelligence. We bring in more, loyalty. We bring in more sense of belongingness in an organization, because of our better communication. I would say that we are able to also have less, attrition. So, if no matter what business you are running, if you're able to focus on your strengths, as an individual and as a woman, and focus on that, like build on your strengths, then I think you'll be able to do a lot better than constantly comparing yourself or measuring yourself through a scale which was not even built by, one among you. Because, I mean, only women can bear children, and that's a fact, right?
Yeah.
And if you have 2 kids, the way you would feel attached or the way you will feel the urgency if they are in trouble, that's inbuilt in you. Can that also be used as a benefit in other regards, is something to think about. So instead of looking at your uniqueness as a limitation, if you start using that as your strength, a lot of the game changes.
Nice, awesome. Well, great. I think those are all questions I had. I mean, that's a fantastic journey, by the way. Thank you so much for sharing the entire, for giving us our fam story from Amrutam and getting us to know you and your resources, your overall story, and in terms of how this has been. What is your current focus, like in terms of scaling the business, which is pretty much you've done, it's profitable. What does it look like for the next 5 years, and what is your current focus areas?
So, one is that we are building our team very strongly now in-house, trying to get everything that we've done, externally.
Are you doing marketing already?
We don't run our own ads,
Okay.
but we work with an agency who's pretty much like an extension of Amritam because
Okay.
of how long we've been working with them
And you
and
can
stuff.
let me know if you want me to work on your ads as well. This is
Oh
what
yeah,
I
we
do.
can explore that. Right now, at least Facebook ads is doing well for us.
How is
but
it doing?
It's doing well.
Okay.
I mean, on a profitable lens, it's
Nice.
doing well, and we're scaling every month.
Very
So
nice.
that is there. But I think main focus is on building services and making doctor consultation one of the priorities, where we have realized that Ayurveda is not just about what you apply, which most brands are doing. It's not just about what you consume, but also, I mean, consume in terms of the product that we
Yeah.
offer, but also your diet, your lifestyle, your sleep, your stress levels. So each person has to go through that personalized treatment in order to truly understand what they can digest, what affects their skin, what affects their hair, what affects their liver, kidney, whatever, right? So we have built a platform, and now we are scaling that, where trying to make people aware that a lot of the things that we're going through are lifestyle disorders, and they cannot be magically fixed. And if you keep treating the symptoms, they will keep becoming bigger issues. So you have to come to a point where you take a personalized treatment, get a personalized diet, lifestyle
I
changes.
mean, it has to be holistic.
Exactly.
This can't be just one aspect of it. And then talking about the place, like most of the entrepreneurs live in Bangalore. People just say, oh, you have to come to Mumbai to learn how to do the business. And then the Gurgaon has the whole MG Street, the people like incubation. How's Gwalior treating you in terms of your business venture?
So, like I said, I have lived like last
Everywhere.
2 years I have been in Bangalore.
Okay.
But I keep doing on and off
So
Gwalior.
you're housed in Bangalore?
Yes.
Stationed in Gwalior. Like, how does it work?
I live in Bangalore. Like, I have a home in Bangalore.
Okay.
And my parents are in Gwalior. The manufacturing company is in Gwalior. So and my brother lives in Gurgaon. So he does a lot of up and down.
So you
and
triangle then.
yeah. So,
That's
but
it.
I don't feel like in this time and age, geography
Does it
is.
matter?
I personally don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it does when, like, say for example, now that so far we've been working remotely.
Remotely.
50% of our team is remote,
Okay.
while the factory and the warehouse obviously is full time. You know, in office.
And where are the factories? In
Gwalior. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So, location, I think, is something that it depends on your goals.
Yeah.
Like, for example, because we had built a business for 5 years in Gwalior, we realized that we needed to get out, network, meet people, learn from other people. Some things are working for them, some things are working for us, exchange ideas.
Sure.
So, that was the reason, majorly, why we sort of stepped out of Gwalior.
Sure.
But I know brands who are doing like insanely well, like they're doing like 80 100 crores a month and based in tier 2 cities like, you know, Jaipur and Ahmedabad and Kanpur, and yeah.
So if you have to rebuild a brand for a D2C, it's a big deal now. Which space will you choose?
In terms of the city,
No city. No.
oh, like the
Just,
category, the industry.
What category will you choose? If you have to choose today, and like now you have more experience in D2C, what will you choose?
I haven't thought about it. But I feel like no matter what war comes or economic recession comes, medicine and healthcare are never going to
Wellness
become
remains there.
irrelevant. So
No,
I
that
think
is
I'm in the space that I would be
besides
in.
the healthcare.
Yeah. I mean, mental health, because I've studied that and it's very close to my heart.
Yeah.
Maybe if not, you know, this, then I would mostly do like something that I had started, like with respect to Lost Tribe, my first startup, where I mixed hospitality and the mental health, like therapeutic community mixed together. So I love creating spaces like that and, you know, doing that. So if I weren't doing this, then maybe I'd do something unique in the hospitality.
But so there are too many categories right now for the D2C brand, like clothing, right? People just start a clothing brand, a fashion brand, and they're just doing 80, 100 crores a month. Like you just mentioned, that actually triggered my question. People are doing healthy snacks. People are doing a lot of skincare, beauty products. So which category do you think is doing better than the other as of today?
Oh, like that. I think there are winners in all categories, to be honest. I know different businesses. You have Fool, a Dhoop brand based in Kanpur, doing really well, you know, incense sticks and gifting items and stuff. Then you have Trilopia, which is a travel company. It's doing really well, based in Jaipur. So there are, I feel that there are startups and businesses in each category who are doing really well of the similar scale. So I don't think that one is better than the other. But if I had to like sort of say what is missing, I feel that a lot of like we need more streamlined and more scalable businesses when it comes to waste management, like recycling stuff, recycling clothes, recycling items in our house. We kind of get bored of things now quite easily.
Yeah.
But you don't want to keep throwing things away also. So
Yeah.
I feel like that space is still like there's a gap.
Untapped.
Yeah, like I mean mainstream waste management, not just waste, but stuff that you want to recycle, reuse, repurpose.
Yeah.
That I feel will have to, like that would be the need of the hour because of the amount of human waste and the amount of just stuff that we are consuming, buying, and then the
And
rate
there's too
at
much.
which we are
Planet
throwing
is
away.
just- absolutely.
So that would do just by default very well, is what I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. So with that, I think we come down to the end of the episode. We fantastic for sharing all your, all your journey and story and your thought process with us. When we towards the end of the every episode, I probably ask quick rapid fire questions just to make a fun of it. Maybe we can ask a couple of questions from you as well. So, what is your favorite vacation spot?
Right now, Thailand.
Thailand, nice.
Because I've been there twice in a year.
All right. So, favorite city in the country?
In the country.
And why?
City
Yes.
or like a place, like any place?
Yeah, favorite city in place. All right, we can do place.
Currently, Auroville.
Where
It's
is
near
that?
Pondicherry.
Okay.
It's basically autonomous society, which doesn't pay tax to Indian government. They have people from 122 countries who have set up. It's been like 56 years of people from all over the world who've come there and like they've built a
I think
community.
I've been to Pondicherry twice when as a kid. There was just all those national credit camps.
Yeah,
run.
but Pondicherry is pretty streamlined because it's a UT.
Yeah.
It's Auroville is like just like few kilometers
Yes.
from.
But it's a nice place. It actually is a very peaceful, very
yeah.
literate, nice crowd and nice people around it.
Yeah.
And lots of activities happening.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very
Awesome place.
community living vibe.
Community living wise, yes, absolutely. Good choice. And then, what is the book you're reading?
So I'm actually reading 2 books because I keep switching. So one is a friend gifted me Tuesdays with Maury,
Nice.
and the other one is called The Princess Remembers by Gayatri Devi. This is both are non-fiction. This one is written by the Maharani of Jaipur. So like from her childhood to like how the India got independence and how that impacted the princely life. And
Nice.
yeah. these 2
Favorite
books.
food?
I'm not a foodie, but masala dosa is something I can have at any time of the day. So if that counts.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the idol, last question. Who is your idol, like from life or from fashion, industry, anything?
I think it's this question I'm always stuck at because I feel like I find inspiration from like everyone.
Okay.
And it's, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, it's really true for me because I don't have like one person that I'm like
But if you have to
glued
choose
to.
just one, who will that be?
idol. Like in terms of business.
Yeah, in terms of business, life, inspiration.
It's very tough. It's like if I name one, then I don't do justice to the
It's okay.
others.
Let's just figure out the rest. Just one.
I can maybe name my favorite Bollywood celebrity.
Yeah, let's do it. Favorite Bollywood. Okay,
I
let's do
really
Bollywood.
like
I
Alia
away
Bhatt.
from Bollywood, but yeah, let's do Bollywood today.
I mean, I don't watch movies, but I like Alia Bhatt a lot for the way that she sort of redefined what it's like to be in the glamorous world and yet feel like that girl next door vibe. Where I think her vibe is very authentic and I draw a lot of inspiration from that just as a public figure, not as, I mean, of course, she's a great actress and everything, but just on a very like individual level, I think that you can be at that level and still not be like fully, pressurized by the pretense of it.
And she's the next generation anyways. I mean, that's she's just being herself. And not to forget, she's also a daughter of Mahesh Bhatt.
Yeah.
Which gives her the direct entry to work with Karan Johar as a debut film, and then the rest is history.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to accept there is a connect
Yeah.
in that
But
industry.
see, you know what? Then there are a lot of people who are also kids of
Yes.
famous
there is a
people.
bigger pressure.
right? No, not
There's a
about
bigger
that, not
pressure,
about that. But
prove
if you
yourself.
think about it, if there are say 500 celebrities like Mahesh Bhatt, then all 500 celebrities have kids, right? But not everyone became an Alia
Yeah.
Bhatt, right?
No, she has a merit of her own as
Yeah,
well.
so
She's a
she,
very
it's like,
natural
it's like
actress.
you cannot help but, you know, you are born in a certain privilege, you cannot do anything about
Yes,
that,
yes.
you cannot change that, but
Yes.
what you do with that privilege is what then
Yes.
counts.
No, she has done excellent job with what she is born into. And not to say that there has been difficulty in her life too. There has been so much with her sister, even with Mahesh Bhatt also. There are so much talks about things and and all the family issues which there is, and she's come out of it. She's dealt with it. She's proved herself. Um, Great. Awesome. Good idol to have.
I mean, I
that's-
just like her, I like her
Yeah, no,
vibe.
she's nice. I
Yeah.
like her too. With that,
Yeah.
it brings the end of our episode. Thank you so much, Stuti, for being here. I know we've been chasing this hour with you. So thank you for giving this time to us. It was amazing to learn and know your journey and story, and adding that as a fem story to our passion project. So thank you again. I really, really appreciate your time.
You've been very, very kind. So I'm really glad I came here and
great.
we did this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. All right. Thank you. Thanks for watching Fem Stories.